Hey y'all, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review, and I am back again. We are moving right along, and actually, I forgot, coming at you with another movie review in 012 Boku's Spoiler Zone! Wow, I can't believe I held it that long, holy crap. Whew. Well, a lot of the diaphragm there. But, hey. But here I am coming at you with another movie in the spoiler zone. Another movie review, essentially. And today I'm giving you a great classic from, just gonna make sure, what does the website say about it? What have I been getting? 83. I always thought it was 82. Let me check the cover of the movie really quick. I'm gonna try to keep it out of the shot. That's a 1998 layout. Alright, we'll go with 83, I guess, because it doesn't give the actual, oh. Okay, no, it says 82. I'm going to say 82, because I think that's when originally it was done, and that's what it says on the back of the, thing here. So, 1982, 1983. Let's give me another shot here. I want to see what I'm doing. Let's see. This movie, Blue Thunder, starring, Roy Schieder, right there on the back, and Roy Schieder on the back, who about a movie with a helicopter where the police are trying out this militaristic helicopter to try to control unruly crowds, rioting, and villains aplenty within Los Angeles, although there is some sinister implications. This movie, I never saw it. My folks got this for me for Easter. I think I was about 15, 16 years old at the time. And believe me, I was a huge believer. I still am a believer in the MPAA rating system. I know the rating system is broke. I know that a lot of people don't care about the rating system. You should, because maybe there are some rated R, PG-13 movies you can get away with showing your kids. Others, I don't think there should be. And I know whenever I have kids, I'm somewhat going to stick to that. If you're like 11 or 12, you could start watching PG-13. If you're like 15, 16, maybe you could start watching some rated R films and whatnot if it's yours. But I know I'm always going to stick to the MPAA because I've always think that the rating system works. And even through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, what have you. But, I, was like thinking, oh wow, here they got me another taste of a rated R film, and this movie's a good one. Like I said, made in 1982 about a police helicopter. What this movie does is it stars Roy Schieder, who plays Officer Flight Lieutenant. I think it's Officer Flight Lieutenant. Make sure I got the thing. Yeah, Officer Flight Lieutenant Frank Murphy, and he's this helicopter pilot who deals with a lot of guff. He checks his sanity with a wristwatch, counting down the seconds, and the reason for this is because he's a Vietnam veteran. He goes through a lot of post-traumatic stress we see in this movie. There's several times where he goes through out-of-body experiences where he's dreaming about what happened in Vietnam, and what happened in Vietnam was, probably seeing a lot of horrors, and also that one of his commanders killed I don't know if it was a North or Southern Vietnamese, I think they just call him a Vietnamese soldier, but there's a Vietnamese soldier hanging on to a helicopter, and I don't know if the guy was wounded. I mean, we don't know what the guy was, if he was wounded, or if he was a prisoner of war, or what, but I mean, he was on the helicopter, he's trying to struggle to hang on to it. We see that somebody pushes him out the side of the helicopter, and it's actually a commander of his, former commander of his, who is the villain in this movie, testing and making the go-ahead for the project for the Blue Thunder, and which is the code name of the helicopter. But the movie starts off with, Murphy training a new partner. They're going through Los Angeles, seeing a lot of things. Cops having sex. People having sex at a park. They're sort of like fooling around because that's what Murphy, his friend Montoya, and everybody else in this movie do. They sort of like do the grounds for an initiation. But they still do their work too. There's an actual part where they see a convenience store robbery where two or three men rob a convenience store, and they dust some of the men out. They keep the spotlight on them. The guys are actually getting shot at in the helicopter. They're actually using the Los Angeles helicopters in this movie from the city. They had to go ahead to use the helicopter because I think there's actually a thing on, not on the back, but it's listed in the movie that they say all the helicopter and military equipment used in this movie is real and is out in force today. So, it's sort of creepy from 1982 that what you're seeing is not completely science fiction, that these type of helicopters and things exist, and believe me, it's only been improved upon since this movie in 1982. It's just that what they do in this movie in 1982, groundbreaking stuff for the time, but it was still pretty freaky to hear about it if you knew nothing about helicopters prior to watching this movie. So, Frank Murphy and his partner stop the bad guys. They go on. Him and his partner, Lyman Good, they come back they actually, while they're watching the apartment with there's a lady doing Kama Sutra, stretching out, doing all the wide poses like this and that, lifting the leg in the air, doing all that type of stuff. And Lyman Good is, enjoying it. Murphy's enjoying it too. All of a sudden, they get a call from this one lady, Mrs. Diana McNeely, who works for the Los Angeles mayor's office. And there was a gentleman watching her house, and when she came in with her security system, he ran out of the house, stopped her moving gated house gate with a brick. It opened up. We have two Mexican men, Latino men, run out and go into her yard. They tackle her as soon as she gets out of the car, and they're sort of like beating her up and roughhousing her a bit, and it looks like they try to take her bag. Within that same thing is, the cops finally show up. You have Murphy and Lyman Good head back to Diana McNeely's home. Murphy knew something was going on because he noticed there was he noticed that the car that was the abandoned junker car was gone, because they called in that car earlier before the scene saying that there was an abandoned car on, I think the road was called Linden Road, and they called it in, and Murphy knew that it had that when the car vanished, this had to be a stakeout, that they were watching her house. So, they call Murphy and Lyman Good calling the cops. The cops show up. They're starting at the Latino guys try to sneak out the back with all of Diana McNeely's notes, and they're trying to get away. The cops shoot one guy. He goes into the pool. Massive blood starts spilling out into the pool. So making sure you have that rated R rating for the film. And then you have Diana McNeely, which I can't believe the cops didn't tell her to get back, but she actually gets right up next to the cops. And one of the guys who gets killed is Thomas Rosales Jr. or Thomas Rosales, who he's in a lot. I have him in quite a few films, and he actually does die in a lot of films that I've seen and own. So poor Thomas Rosales. Probably, if you know him, probably more well known for being in the Lost World Jurassic Park, who played Carter, Dieter Stark's partner in that movie. And that's who Thomas Rosales played in that movie, was Carter. And, you had all those different things. And what happens is the gangster, Thomas Rosales Jr., starts shooting at the cops. Diana McNeely gets shot right in the neck. She goes down. The cops shoot at, Thomas Rosales Jr. He gets shot in the shoulder. He's still trying to shoot. And then they shoot him once more in the chest. He falls down. Frank Murphy goes into a PTSD moment, taking the helicopter with, and, that starts the whole thing. Sadly, that whole thing is, we get to know that the commissioner and lieutenant basically ices Frank Murphy and Richard Lyman Good for I think like 2 weeks, and so like he's saying, you shouldn't have been trying to like see that thing and having all those types of ignorant things, and like Lyman Good tries to stand up for Murphy, but the lieutenant's like, you're supposed to be stupid, don't abuse the privilege. And Murphy this entire time is trying to tell his lieutenant that what happened with Diana McNeely, he's sorry for not being there, for messing up, and he's like saying, sir, that was a stakeout. They were watching her house. This isn't a good thing. And the lieutenant didn't want to mention, because I guess the police chief commissioner was on his ass, the mayor was on his ass, and I think he even tells, what was it? Oh yeah, he tells Murphy that if I don't have an ass when I get out of this chair, that's because the old man, snapped off like that, and he snaps a pencil in half. But which I'm going into the other characters. I know I apologize, but like Murphy is intertwined. I mean, he's the main character, and he's intertwined within all this. So he's out of the job for a moment. He gets home around, I think, 2 a.m. in the morning, and his girlfriend comes in, and he sort of has a thing with the girlfriend, and there's a nice dress Murphy bought her that she saw was there, and it's sort of a nice character building with each other, and she even gave him back his key because he was about to shoot her because he thought it was a burglar breaking into his home, and obviously with the post-traumatic stress that played a factor. And what happens is you have like that scene happen, it was a nice lighthearted scene, and you have Frank Murphy thinking about what happened with Diana McNeely. So he goes back to Diana McNeely's house, sneaks into the crime scene, finds one of the papers that Thomas Rosales Jr.'s character had, and takes it out from a tree. One of the paper is garbled, but there's a letter on there that he notices called Thor. He hangs on to it, and then we learn that Frank Murphy is actually called back early in the morning by his lieutenant, and his lieutenant says, why don't you answer your fucking beeper? And Frank Murphy goes, well, Captain, here's the thing. Next time I am suspended, so is my fucking beeper! I mean, I love that. I mean, my God, you don't get that type of writing in movies nowadays. I mean, you really don't. But that was awesome of Roy Schieder just to do his Frank Murphy. I mean, so if that was an ad-lib, that was a nice ad-lib. If that was in the script, that was great writing by, believe it or not, Dan O'Bannon and Dan Jacoby. If you guys know Dan O'Bannon, Alien, the writer of Alien, and I think a few other films as well. I want to say he did Total Recall, but I think that was mostly Ron Shusett. But I think Dan O'Bannon may have had something to do in that one too. But I know Dan O'Bannon helped write this movie too. So, that was cool knowing that Dan O'Bannon wrote Blue Thunder too. Because Blue Thunder is a phenomenal movie. Overall too, as we continue, we learn from Frank Murphy that he's invited to see this test. And there's these two, government shirts there telling him that, this is crowd control from the air. We have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles. We want to make sure that, you guys are protected, that any terrorist or not with a gun isn't going to cause trouble. And, Frank Murphy basically tells these two, what you're talking about, crowd control from the air. And they both nod, and he's saying, that didn't work out so well in Vietnam. It didn't work out so well before. And then they ask him, well, how do you know? And he's like, well, I was a pilot in Vietnam. And they're sitting here, well, you'll see, Frank, you'll see, we're gonna have, like, you see what we're trying to do. So they get to this testing site where, believe it or not, one of the villains, the stalker who was watching Diana McDeavy's home in the tan Chevy, was there, and he's there watching the performance, and Frank with his lieutenant captain and the two government guys with a bunch of like other military people and government people there sit down to watch this. We see this pilot going around, doing the demonstration, trying to like keep an eye on things, doing precision targeting with the helicopter, and it's all looking good. And there's like things to simulate good and bad. The red dummies are the terrorists and the bad people. The white dummies were the white ones. And they're actually sitting there enjoying, well, the government guys are sitting there enjoying what they're seeing, and, he's like, hey, look, all the red ones have been shot to hell. And then Frank goes to the guy, well, so have some of the white ones. And he's like, 2 to, and then one of the other guys goes, well, 2 to 10 civilians. That's an acceptable ratio. And then Frank Murphy goes to his captain, well, unless you're one of the civilians. It's just like, it's such a good point. Because, if you're one of the civilians, you're going to be like, well, that fucking sucked. And, see it coming out of nowhere. When the demonstration's over, we see that, it's Frank Murphy's old lieutenant captain from Vietnam. And, he, like, sees that it's him, and he wants nothing to do with him. They have a little bit of banter, but then go away, and then and then they're thinking, like, why did we pick this guy, but, he's qualified. And so, they convince his old lieutenant to bring the Blue Thunder there, and, have him test it out. So what happens is, I think, not lieutenant, Colonel Cochran, that's his name, Colonel Cochran. So, Colonel Cochran agrees, and the government and Colonel Cochran bring the Blue Thunder helicopter over, and Cochran is going to fly the blue helicopter, and he wants to test out Murphy's speed and, like, flight with the helicopter, and Lyman Good is going to be with him. And so they're getting ready to fly. Cochran sabotages the helicopter, and, they get in there, they play a game of follow my leader, they're following Cochran, they're doing really well, keeping up, and then, he's wanting Murphy to take the lead, and then, Murphy takes the lead, Cochran's following, all the while that part of the helicopter that Cochran undid is starting to come undone, so the bolt comes out, the propellers start going out of control, they can't control the flight mechanism, so Lyman Good and Murphy crash. Luckily they don't get killed, they survive, because they almost land on a school bus, but they land on top of a construction zone, and, both of them are a little injured and hurt, but they've survived. And then all of a sudden, it gets back to the day. You have Cochran and Murphy both in their cars meeting in the parking lot. And while Cochran is sort of mocking Frank, Frank Murphy. Yeah, I wanted to say Frank Miller, but I'm like, it's not Frank Miller, it's Frank Murphy. And, he's mocking Frank Murphy, and Frank Murphy's like, listen, asshole, back off. And Cochran's like, oh, what is this? Threats? And then he like looks at me, he's like, no, I'm telling you, asshole, back off. Because it's like Frank Murphy even knows something's going on here. He probably figured out that Cochran sabotaged their helicopter. He probably knew deep down it was Cochran. The funny thing is, next day comes, Lyman Good and Murphy are going to test out the Blue Thunder. Murphy gave his friend, Murphy gave his friend Montoya the paper to look over that he took, and his friend, Montoya, gets back to him when Murphy's hanging out with Kate one day, and I think this was a little bit before they fly the Blue Thunder helicopter, and Montoya goes, this word, you have a sentence here in Spanish that says, friends in the barrio making trouble, and he says that, to me that sentence doesn't make sense, and then he's like, then there's this word here that says Thor, Thor, and like they get, and like both Montoya and Murphy have a feeling that something bad is gonna go down, and I forgot, so he learns that, and then, follows the next couple days, and Murphy and Lyman Good are about to test out the helicopter. They take it for a test flight. Murphy's lieutenant actually says, you know, Murphy, be careful, because I think the feds are after your ass. So even Murphy's lieutenant knew something was wrong with this whole scenario, because, I mean, he even tells him before he goes on this test flight that, you know, I think the federal agents are after your ass, you better be careful, you know, they're after you. And, you know, that's really cool how all these characters know that something's going on. And, you know, Murphy and Lyman Good take the flight. They're testing it out. You know, they do a whole bunch of fun and, you know, different things with it. They're hearing another cop have sex in a house. You know, they're able to record certain things. They're able to see stuff with, like, heat vision. As they're heading back to finish up their flight for the night, because I think they were only supposed to be out for a couple hours, you know, Richard Lyman Good checks his file, everything about him, where he lives, what he does is in there. And then, you know, Murphy's like, you know, check out my file. And then, like, Lyman Good checks out Frank Murphy's file, and then, you know, like, they get, you know, Frank Murphy's address, but then the thing blinks and says, file under repair. Frank Murphy sees that and says, you know, why is my file under repair? And Lyman Good says, you know, did you break your file? And Murphy's like, I don't know. And then, like, as they're heading back, they see Colonel Cochran's car go out of the thing, and they're running to, you know, to go to the place. And, you know, Murphy's like, well, okay, let's follow him. Let's find out where this goes. And, you know, so they're making up a lie, saying they can't land. They don't hear the government agents, like, telling them to land. And, you know, they're doing the whole, like, fake radio sounds and everything like that. So another hilarious, great scene. So Murphy and Lyman Good follow Cochran, and, you know, they're outside of a government building where they're actually hearing the crime committed against Diana McNeely about how they were trying to keep this helicopter coming from Los Angeles, because I think they knew that Diana McNeely was going to tell the mayor that this thing had, you know, implications. Oh, that's who Diana McNeely was, not the mayor's aide. Diana McNeely was the district attorney for Los Angeles. And, like, they were going to tell, you know, Diana McNeely was going to tell the mayor and blow the whole case wide open about the real implications of Blue Thunder. And, you know, you have the one guy in the Chevy saying, you know, oh, it would have been necessary to rough her up, you know, and then one of these big government officials goes, you know, rough her up, is that the latest euphemism for assassination? And you have all these guys talking, and, you know, Lyman Good and Murphy notice that the other government officials that were there for Blue Thunder are there talking. You know, there's still one back at the police station, but another one, a guy named Fletcher's there with Cochran that, you know, we're talking, and they're basically saying, you know, oh, this is what this is really for. And then, you know, while this is going on, Lyman Good is typing in stuff, Project Thor, and it all comes up about Blue Thunder, the Project Thor. It's all about Blue Thunder, what they want to do with it, and it seems like they want to put this into Los Angeles as well as other major cities to use as a crowd control variant, so not just against villains, but to control people in the air. So once again, shady stuff of government that actually can sort of fit in today's world right now, because as we know, as you guys know, as I talk about, a lot of stuff is shady, and not a lot of stuff is all good. And believe me, could this possibly be something in our future? I hate to fucking think about it, but, you know, maybe. But I'll just say, you know, that's sort of what it was about. And, you know, they start talking, is Murphy reliable? And Colonel Cochran tells these guys that, you know, I should kill him. And they're like, when? You know, he's like, as soon as possible. And, you know, Murphy and Lyman Good are shocked. You know, Murphy's like, boy, he's crazy about me, isn't he? And, you know, like, Murphy, and, you know, and they also had they had the audio recording on this, and they had video recording of oh, shit. Yeah, sorry, guys. A bit of allergies getting in there. But they had a video recording of the thermal imaging. So they had thermal imaging video recording, and they had the audio recording on these tapes, because there's the flight recorder isn't just a you know, a flight recorder chip. I mean, they have that in there, but their main flight recorder are these tapes that can record everything, and it's it's 3/4 inch video, and the 3/4-inch video records everything. And I guess if the tape stays within the sleeve, if they delete the sleeve number of the tape, of the code number of the tape, the video will delete. As a little side note there. And what happens is they escape, and because Cochran opened up a window, saw the Blue Thunder spying on them. They escape. Cochran is quickly trying to call one of the government guys. The government guys get out there, and you have Murphy, land. Murphy goes right away to talk to his lieutenant. Lyman Good gets the tape out, and what happens is they both set this thing up to try to tell the other cops or the mayor about what goes on, and Lyman Good didn't feel safe just stashing the tape, so he stashed the tape in a secret place. He goes back to his apartment. Sadly, he meets up with a bunch of Cochran's thugs. They, beat him up and, kill him. Sadly, Murphy, sees this where, he didn't see Lyman Good get murdered, but he finds his body over the CB when the cops talk. And sadly, Murphy is in line for questioning, so they put an APB out on Murphy for the questioning and death of Richard Lyman Good. So, Murphy takes it upon himself to go, or no, he checks his messages on his phone using one of those, like state-of-the-art technology things where after you type your beeper into the payphone, you can read your messages from the payphone. And, Murphy read his messages, and Lyman Good said, check out the audio recorder in Blue Thunder if you want to know more about what I've done. So in a way, it's almost like Richard Lyman Good knew there was a chance he could get killed for what he did. And that's sort of what's sad about his last parts in the movie, which we'll get to about explaining more. So, Murphy gets into the helicopter. Here's what Lyman Good does the next morning. Guys try to stop him from getting out of the helicopter, but he takes off, flies the helicopter all the way throughout the city. He calls his girlfriend in the helicopter, and, his girlfriend goes to this movie theater where Lyman Good hid the tape. She finds the tape. Cops start chasing his girlfriend. He gets the cops off her tail. He's basically disarming their cars and the police vehicles with the weapons. His friend Montoya and a couple other cops chase after him in police helicopters. He dodges them. And, throughout this whole entire thing, he's making sure, trying to catch up with Kate, making sure, that's his girlfriend's name, Kate, making sure his girlfriend gets to the TV stations to where he wants to get it to, the main news, so the press when the press was still good, for crying out loud, so that the press can leak this information to the public so these government officials can be criminalized and incarcerated by the law, so they can get in trouble for what they've done. And, Murphy, does all this, and, they even bring in F-16s at one point to bring him down to where the F-16s can't bring him down, and the F-16s are inadvertently blowing up a Chinese chicken shop in, Chinatown in Los Angeles. They hit a government building that had a sunspot on them since the missiles are, heat recognized. And, also Murphy was making sure his heat exhaust is right in front of the building, so when he goes away, that it homes in right on the building right at the last second. So, there's all those different types of things. The mayor's panicking and freaking out because the mayor's at the helicopter police station, and everything's just a mess. Cochran, in a last-ditch effort, tries to get into a military helicopter. He actually finds Murphy, injures Murphy a bit, starts disabling the Blue Thunder a little bit more. And there's actually a part where Montoya told Lyman Good that Murphy did a whole 360 flip with a helicopter, to which Lyman Good's that's possible, you couldn't do that. And Cochran comes up and says, well, yes, you're right, that's aerodynamically impossible, I would know. And what happens is, since they're in a military helicopter, I don't think you'd be able to do this with the Blue Thunder 2, and they used it doing a camera trick, but Murphy uses the turbo boost to put his money where his mouth is, clicks on the turbo boost, brings the helicopter up, completely does a complete 360 with the helicopter, which you can tell they just filmed, the helicopter upside down, so either a model or they just inverted the picture of it flying. Either way, cool scene. Helicopter goes all the way around, gets behind Cochran, he takes Cochran out, killing him, and that's the end of him. By this time, Kate got the tape to the authorities and to the news, and we hear at the end people are starting to go down. Murphy lands the Blue Thunder helicopter near the train tracks, and this freight train comes out of nowhere, taking out the helicopter just as Murphy got out of the helicopter. So, Murphy survives at the end, and that's the end of Murphy's role in Blue Thunder. Sorry that was a lot, half hour to talk about that, but it's centered around Murphy, so there was a lot to talk about with Murphy. I mean, the main characters usually take the longest anyway, so hey. And then, as we continue on, we have, I want to make sure this is correct. Yeah, we have it's done a little differently, so I'll probably do it in the order that they have it here. We have Candy Quark, who plays Kate. And Candy Quark, is his girlfriend. She's sort of like Frank Murphy. She's got a sassy attitude like Frank does. She's a tough person. She knows what to do. She has a kid of her own. I think the kid is from another relationship or maybe an ex-husband, but we don't know where the child comes from. But you have the child and Murphy seem to have a good relationship. It seems like Kate and Frank Murphy are always at each other's throats, but they get along with each other. You can tell there's a love there. You can tell there's trust there. There's a part where Murphy and Kate were hanging out for the day, and they were back at each other's house, and you have you have Kate working on some work at the house, and then all of a sudden, she's looking around for Frank. She can't find Frank, and she's thinking, hey Frank, where are you? Is this something kinky? She literally says it like that, and she's like, is this something kinky? And then she's like looking around, she's checking all the closets. Frank's out there, and then she just yells out, God damn it, Murphy, if you left. And then she checks outside, she realizes Murphy's car's still there, so she's like, okay, Frank didn't leave, so where's Frank Murphy at? And then she goes into the bedroom to where she sees that Frank passed out with her son, and Murphy was reading to his son, and the son's passed out in the bed, Frank is passed out on the floor. And she's happy for a moment, but then she's concerned because she sees where Frank looks like he's having a nightmare, and that's where he's having another one of his dreams of the PTSD of Cochran pushing the Vietnamese soldier out of the helicopter. So it goes from happiness to concern, and the music that they use for that scene is really, really creepy. And the music is it's a synthesized music track by Arthur B. Rubinstein. Actually done pretty well. I don't know if Arthur B. Rubinstein did any other movies after this movie, but the synthesized soundtrack in this movie is pretty dang good. I love the themes that Arthur B. Rubinstein created, as well as the music for him. It needed to be creepy when it needed to, suspenseful, action-packed, a pretty dang good score for this movie, just on that side note. And as it continues, when Frank gets into the Blue Thunder helicopter to try to find this tape, he enlists Kate to help him, tells, Kate where it is, he also tells Kate when, Kate agrees to do this, because, this shows their trust right there. Like, Kate questions a little bit of what's going on. Frank tells her really quickly, really bluntly, because he doesn't have time to go into 1,000 questions, but, she trusts him and loves him, and she helps Frank out with this. So, she goes to this movie theater to find the tape. She has to dig in this dumpster to, literally get in. Frank's telling her from the air to get in there. He's pointing down for the Blue Thunder. She gets into the garbage to find it, tossing garbage out everywhere. Frank's sort of laughing at this because he finds it amusing that Kate is digging through the garbage. Kate finds the tape. That's when the cops come up. And, Murphy helps her out with the cops. And she's, driving all the way around to Los Angeles to get it to, I think it's to KBLA news station where she has to go, and she's trying to get to KBLA News, and while she's getting there, she's actually stopped by 2 cops to where she actually plays it straight. She's upset. She wants to gun it, but she's like, no, I don't want to get into any more trouble than possibly this could be already. So she tries to stop, and she's like, how fast was I going, officer? And the thing is, the cops already got the description of her car, so they're asking her to
to step out, and what happens is as she's stepping out, like, Kate looks all defeated, like, upset because she thinks she fails Frank. All of a sudden, in a great shot, you have this backing shot where it's behind, where, you know, it's out of focus. Kate's car and the police cars are out of focus, and in the main scene, you see the blue thunder rising up. The cops are shot. Kate's shot. Kate, like, shuts the door, guns the car. The cops try to go after her. You know, Frank Murphy dismantles the cop cars. You know, they go, you know, like they can't control the cars because both the backs of the cars get shut off. So they go sadly barreling into traffic, so a little bit more of collateral damage. You have Kate actually get to the TV station. They heard this they caught the conversation that Frank had told Kate. So they had a government man waiting at the news station. All of a sudden, you know, Kate comes running up to the desk. She's trying to tell the front desk man, you know, I have to get this to I think it's, let me make sure, because we got the names here. Yeah, I need to get this to, let's see, is here, oh, no, they don't have them on here, but, yeah, it was Al Hewitt or, Mario Machado, who, believe it or not, is an actual reporter for Los Angeles, and, you know, she's like saying, I need to get this to Al Hewitt or Mario Machado, and what happens is, you know, the front desk guys listening to her, you know, she tries to go to a security guard next, but then this government agent said, you know, some people have no manners, you know, hi, I'll talk to you, I'll come with you and see this, and then, you know, he's like, well, I'll take this, you know, and then he starts, like, being nice to her, but then he says out of nowhere to Kate, you go, hey, why don't you let me take this tape to Mario Machado or Al Hewitt? And she's like, no, Frank told me I had to deliver this to themselves personally, and, what happens is, oh yeah, this government agent introduced himself to her as Al Hewitt and Mario Machado's producer. And Al Hewitt actually comes up to her and says, hey, you know, I heard you were trying to call me. I got a call saying you were looking for me or Mario. And she's like, yeah, your producer was saying that you were, and then he's like, who? And she's like, your producer. And then Al Hewitt looks up at the government agent. He's like, I've never seen this man before in my life. You know, let's go. And then all of a sudden, this government agent is trying to grab both Mario or Al Hewitt and Kate, and you know they're fighting back. The guys got a hold of the tape. All of a sudden, you know they're struggling with it. You know, Kate and both Al have a hold of it. You know, the tape, you know, slides out of the case, and they have it. And then during that time, all these other government agents who they didn't know what Lyman Good changed the code to. They said, well, why don't we just erase all the tape? So at that moment, the tape erased with nothing in it, so they failed to erasing the tape in that gesture. But what happens is since the tape's out of the sleeve, and they still have it, you know, this government agent, like, takes out a gun, and then all of a sudden, you know, guard comes up and knocks the government agent out, and that's when we see that the tape's erased. And that's the end of Kate, except there's a scene where, you know, Kate and Al Hewitt are looking at the tape, and Al Hewitt's telling, like, his producers and other people in the media, and I think, you know, he's going to say, you know, that, you know, that this is like it, and you hear Al Hewitt say, you know, this takes a bunch of, you know, cops and feds talking on this thing, so he's like, you know, this is a big government cover-up, so, you know, Kate, you know, had a big implication for the movie, too. Not as big as Murphy, but, you know, she was pretty instrumental in this film, too. Oh, shoot. Candy Clark wasn't the next one. I forgot. The second build, which, sorry for the second build, and rest in peace, Warren Oates. I did not mean to do that, but, you know, I gushed over Candy Clark, but I will do that for you, too. Warren Oates actually plays Captain Jack Braddock, and, Captain Jack Braddock is, his, you know, flight captain. I was saying flight lieutenant earlier, but yeah, flight captain, and, he's a guy who really believes in Frank. You know, he wants to, you know, believe in him, wants to know, you know, what he's about, what he's doing, what, you know, the possibilities and everything are, and, you know, Frank's trying to, you know, do things right by him, but, you know, Braddock, you know, sort of gets upset with him, and, you know, he
fools around the part. When Diana McNeely gets hurt, Braddock's like, you should have been where you shouldn't have been, and you're somewhat of a loose cannon. And he actually tells Murphy that, the board wants you up for psych evaluation again. And Murphy's like, again, come on, you can't be serious. And Braddock's like, Murphy, it's just what it is. I think you can't handle it. I trust you, but they think that you need to be looked at again. And Braddock gives Murphy this advice saying that, if there's one thing I've done, I have a moral for you, Frank. I like morals. When you're walking on eggshells, you don't. You walk. You don't hop. And then he's like, that's it. And you know what? Frank's like, okay. And he walks out of the office, and then he just he yells in his department. Everybody looks at him. He's like, don't hop. Like that. Don't hop. It's just really cool. And then Braddock is the one, like I said, who calls Murphy to look at the Blue Thunder when they're going through the testing. And Braddock and Murphy are both skeptical. They don't know what to think about this. And when they go through the test run, like I said, Braddock is the one who actually tells Murphy to say, watch your ass, because I think the feds are after you. So they were both skeptical from this to the very beginning. And when they don't come back with the Blue Thunder, you have one of the government agents getting on Braddock's case, saying, how could he do this? He's a loose cannon. We shouldn't have trusted him. Why did our department recommend it? Your department's out of control. And then he's like, what do you want? I'm not your babysitter. I can't control him. He's a pilot. He does what he does. And then, the government agent goes, do you know he checks his sanity with a wristwatch? And Braddock literally goes at the guy and says, yeah, what do you check yours with, a dipstick? I just love how Warren Oates just says that out of nowhere. What do you check yours with, a dipstick? It's like, it's just so great. Warren Oates has so many sarcastic sayings in this movie. It's absolutely great. And, so in a way, I think Braddock is still defending Murphy in this movie. When I first saw this movie, I thought Braddock was a jerk, not really supporting Murphy, but I think throughout this movie, he really supports Murphy. It's just that he has his hands tied, because he's a department not only responsible for Murphy, but he's responsible for a whole lot of people, so it's a lot of pressure on his hands. And, it's like, he's not the greatest guy to handle pressure, but I really think Braddock cares, for Murphy throughout this entire movie. And what happens is after they get back with the Blue Thunder and do everything with the tape, you have Braddock, talking with Murphy really quick, and basically saying, I don't know what you were doing. If you enjoyed this ride, it's your last ride for a while, And he's like, who are you trying to fool, Murphy, with that fake phone thing? That went out the window 3 days after Marconi invented the fucking radio. It's like, just like those great lines that I love. And, when Murphy goes rogue, Braddock is there, and you have Cochran, the government agents, and everybody else blaming Braddock for what happens. And Braddock's like, I didn't know he was going to do this. I put him in his place. I did what I needed to do. I didn't know he was going to do this. You could say it's a very weak argument, but I think the reason he was making a weak argument is because deep down, I think he knew these government guys. I think Braddock also knew these government guys were full of shit. And, Braddock's working with the mayor. They're trying to, figure out things. And then, a couple of Braddock's last lines is when they're bringing in F-16 jets to take out Murphy. They're sitting there thinking, they're trying to tell the mayor, they can surgically remove Murphy and Blue Thunder from the air like a tumor. And you hear Braddock go, we're not talking about a tumor. Because I think, Braddock knows that Murphy has the military background more than likely, and he knows that, Murphy's a good pilot and a good cop. This is not going to be an easy thing bringing this guy down. And, that's what I like about Braddock, is I really think, even though we don't see it, I think Braddock has Murphy's back through this entire film. At least that's just what I think. Because I always thought Braddock was a jerk, but that has changed over every time I've watched this movie. Because I think Braddock has always had his back. It's just that Braddock's hands are always tied. He can't throw in his full support to Murphy because he's in charge of an entire department. And he even tells, I think even it was right at the beginning of the film that he tells Lyman Good and Murphy after their first mess up, he's saying, I don't want my division burnt. I care about my division. So, he cares about Murphy a lot, but he knows that he has to also take care of his division. His flight division is his responsibility. So, Warren Oates plays a great character as Captain Jack Braddock, and what makes this movie sad is this was Warren Oates' final movie, and there's actually a thing at the end of the credits that I think says, to our friend Warren Oates, you will be missed, or just to our friend Warren Oates, because after this movie was made, Warren Oates died of cancer, and that's sad to see, because Warren Oates seemed like a really good actor, really enjoyed what he did. He was a great actor for this film. Another movie I have of Warren Oates in is 1941. He's great in 1941. So Warren Oates is a great actor. I'm glad I have these two movies of him. I would like to look into more of his filmography, see what else he's done. But, I think Warren Oates is a great actor, and it's sad that he died right after this movie. And then let's see here. Daniel Stern. Daniel Stern, I know this wasn't his first movie. I think his first movie was Breaking Away. But we have a very young Daniel Stern in this movie playing Officer Richard Lyman-Good. And there's this thing that they call Lyman-Good right at the start of this movie, and they call him Jotho. And he doesn't understand what Jotho means. He's asking Montoya about what Jotho means, and Montoya's telling him to look everywhere, look up, look down, look left, look right. And Murphy doesn't tell him to. They always joke about him because he's the rookie, he's the new guy. And actually at the beginning of the movie, you have Murphy ask Lyman-Good, why did you come to air support? And he's like, well, no big cop stuff, no guns, no kicking in doors, no trying to rush into things, quiet. And then Murphy's like, yeah, quiet. And there's actually a part during the convenience store scene where, they're there at the convenience store, and when like I said, when the guy takes out the gun shooting at him, you have Lyman-Good sort of like trying to duck in the helicopter. He's like, oh, Jesus! And you have Murphy go, welcome to air support. And, just like, our job isn't 100% safe too, Richard, should have known this. And, Daniel Stern gives Richard Lyman-Good a lot of naturalistic innocence in this film, which is what I really love. And, he just has that so well. And after, they get shot at when they go to the one lady doing the Kama Sutra in her apartment, and you have, Lyman-Good, with him, you basically have him going, oh yeah, oh mama, oh boy, he's like a kid enjoying everything in this movie that exists. And Lyman-Good and Murphy, for the time they have in this movie, they were becoming really good partners. And Lyman-Good had his back. Like when they had their first incident, like I said, I told you that Lyman-Good was trying to cover for Murphy. He tells Braddock that, I'm sorry, sir, I told Murphy to take me to, that's what the place was called. It was Encino. I told Murphy to take me to Encino. It was my fault. I take responsibility. And that's when Braddock says, you're supposed to be stupid, son. Don't abuse the privilege. It's just like, but I like how, even as a rookie helicopter pilot, even though I bet Lyman-Good spent some time in the actual police force, I like how Lyman-Good tried to, take responsibility and say this wasn't Murphy's fault, it was mine. So I gave Lyman-Good a lot of props, and Daniel Stern played that off really well in this movie. There's also the part when they
get into the Blue Thunder, because, basically, like, Lyman Good's there, just backing up Murphy with everything, with the test runs and everything. When they learn everything about the Blue Thunder and, like, everything that happens, there's a scene, earlier on where the government guy is putting him on there, and, like, Lyman Good used to work in the Navy, and I guess during the Navy in the 70s and 80s, a little bit, after the early 80s, they were using the 3/4-inch tapes to, basically record things, and that's how Lyman Good knew of the 3/4-inch videos, because he was a part of the Navy and or Marines, and he saw how the guy did the setup. So when they get everything, that's said by the government officials about the truth about Blue Thunder, when they land, Lyman Good tells Murphy he's gonna get the tape, so he takes the tape out the back, changes the codes, knows what to do, and takes off. You have also like Murphy wanting to go after Lyman Good, but he's sort of detained at the police station because Braddock is giving Murphy a hard time. So when like Lyman Good heads home, he heads home. He already stashed the tape, so nobody knows where it is. But you got like the villain in the Chevy watching Lyman Good's house. There's two other thugs there. Like I said, Cochran's thugs are there. They're in his house. Like, there's a guy sitting in Lyman Good's chair in his living room. There's another person, like, in his kitchen. And then when he sees the guy in the living room, the guy in the kitchen comes out of nowhere, hits Lyman Good. They take Lyman Good's gun. They tie him up with tape, and they gag him. And, there's this part where, they're starting to break, Lyman Good's fingers because they're threatening him. And, first we're going to start with fingers one by one, and then we'll, like, work our way down. And believe me, you don't want that. So what happens is one of the main thugs is asking, Lyman Good the questions, where's the tape? And then, like, he just says it is in the car. And then the thug just goes without Lyman Good saying or acknowledging anything. Like, the thug just goes, like, stupidly, check the car. And, I mean, I guess in a way you can think it's smart because maybe it's in his car. But, it's like they didn't even wait for Lyman Good to give the official nod. So the first thug goes out to check the car. The second thug was sitting in the living room with him, like, is there, and he's like, all we want is a tape, and, this can end, this doesn't have to get worse. And then, like, Lyman Good looks over at paper, and then the thug looks over with him with that, sadistic grin and says, you want to write it down? Atta boy. And, treating him like a complete, even though he acts like a kid, it's really mocking how they treat him. But what happens is he's going to get the paper. Like, you have Lyman Good stand up, he actually kicks the guy into the wall, or something like that, knocking the one guy out, or knocking him down, stunning him, and then, like, Lyman Good literally, with his hands tied behind his back, and he's still gagged, gets behind him, opens up the door behind him, with his hands tied behind him, runs out the door. The one thug who was looking at his car starts running up the stairs, seeing him. He kicks the first thug down the stairs. He falls down a little out of commission. And then Lyman Good is running down the street where the guy in the Chevy who gives his face, like in the car, like, turns it on and starts going after him, chasing after him. And then you have, like, Lyman Good doing his best to try to run, to outrun this tan Chevy. And in a way, he's actually gaining a little bit of ground, but the guy's right on his heels. And sadly, what happens is he, like, starts running down the block. He turns his corner at this gas station. He sadly runs into and hits this girl off her bike, so he falls down. As he's struggling to get back up, the villain in the Chevy comes by at full speed, bam, hits Lyman Good, drags his body underneath the car, sadly, and he kills him. And, that's where Murphy shows up and sees Lyman Good's been killed. And, that part really sucks. That part always sucks to see, because you end up really liking Lyman Good in this movie. I don't see how anyone can hate Lyman Good, because Lyman Good was a great partner for Murphy. They were becoming, the best of friends, and, they were together in this whole thing, and Lyman Good sadly just gets taken out like that. But that, like I said, that goes back to where, when Murphy checks his messages, and Lyman Good's, checked the audio file, and, the thing, because he's like, I don't want to bring the tape home, doesn't seem to bring it safe to bring it home. Lyman Good was right about that. You have Murphy, wanting and, like going into the Blue Thunder. He checks the audio recorder, and basically he tells Murphy, I hid it at an old movie theater, drive-in movie theater I go to, Pickwick Theaters. I hid it there. I hid it in the dumpster right behind the concession stand. And, so go there, get it, try to get it there. And, like Lyman Good is speaking in a lot of the past tense, because he's, like, telling Murphy, good luck if you accept this mission, if you want to do this, you can. And he speaks throughout the past tense this entire conversation, whether that's a continuity goof or not. But I think, like I said, when you look at the character, I think Lyman Good knew, as soon as he did with the tapes, there was a good chance he was going to die. So if Lyman Good knew there was a great chance he was going to die, I salute his character in this film, because that took balls and guts to do, and he sacrificed himself, sadly and unknowingly. I don't think he wanted to die like that. I don't think anyone would. But he basically sacrifices himself to try to get this truth about the Blue Thunder helicopter out. As upsetting as it is that he dies, it's a nice moment to see. And right before the audio recording ends, like, Lyman Good goes, oh yeah, Murphy, I found out what Jaffa meant. So going back to, like I said at the beginning, of what Jaffa was, nobody told him what Jaffa stood for. And he's like, just another fucking observer. So, as sad as it is that we're knowing this is Lyman Good's last message, it ends on a great joke from Daniel Stern. So Daniel Stern played Lyman Good really well, fun character. Nice to see that Daniel Stern was actually in a drama action movie like thing, because Daniel Stern usually is in comedies or comedy dramas. He really doesn't play these type of characters, so it was nice to see that he was a part of Blue Thunder. I thought he worked really well for the cast. Daniel Stern was great in this movie, and it's so interesting to see him so young in this movie. Of course, 1982, go figure. And then we have let's see. Yes. Malcolm McDowell, who played Colonel. Oh wow, they have Effie Cochran, and there's actually a point where they actually Lyman Good asks Murphy what does the Effie stand for, and like Murphy just goes fuck everybody. And I mean, if that's what it actually stands for, wow. But Malcolm McDowell plays Colonel Cochran. And like I said, Cochran is the man behind setting the Blue Thunder up. He's the guy who flies during the test footage, sabotages, Murphy's helicopter, basically is mocking Murphy throughout this entire movie. And then basically says during the test flight that Murphy is unreliable, I need to kill him. And, it just becomes this whole thing of Cochran trying to stop Murphy with, the cops, military, everything fails. Cochran can't get anything done, and then when he finally takes the helicopter, he just has this psychotic look on his face, trying to kill Murphy to take him out because Cochran doesn't want to be implicated. There's actually a part where, Cochran gets into the helicopter, and when they're telling him, Colonel Cochran, don't take off. Do not take off. You do not have permission to go into the air. Do not take off. It's like, and how he does is like, I like how in his mind he doesn't hear the do nots, and he just hears the take off, and you hear him just go, thank you, over the audio, and it's like, wow. And but Cochran just has that psychotic look to his face when he's trying to just kill Murphy. So you can tell this guy is completely desperate, completely psychotic, trying to take Murphy out near the end of this movie. So when Murphy gets upper hand, does a 360 spin, and shoots at Cochran's helicopter, killing him, and you see bits of the helicopter, and I think his body fall to the ground after it exploded. Always epic. But, Malcolm McDowell plays the character with such, smugness, such snootiness. The guy's ego-driven. He's evil to the core. He acts so smug and smut. That's why, going back to the line when he and Colonel Cochran have that part in the parking lot, he's like, bad job to bad trouble today, Murphy. I don't know if you'll be able to fly the Blue Thunder and do what you need to do. I don't think it's safe in your capable hands. And then, when Murphy just goes, and he says it casually, Murphy's just like, back off, asshole. Oh, what's this? Threats? No, I'm telling you, back off. It's just like, it's such great dialogue, and like, Colonel Cochrane, Malcolm McDowell has dialogue with a lot of the supporting characters. He doesn't have a lot of the dialogue with Murphy, but you can just tell for the scenes that Murphy and Cochrane are in, when Malcolm McDowell and Roy Schieder are in, they play off each other so well that, hey, I'm better than you and I know it, and I hate you, and I know you know it. And it's so great to just have that be played out. And, let's see, like, seeing Malcolm McDowell's desperation throughout this movie is just great when things go wrong. And I mean, it was a nice role for Malcolm McDowell to play. Good villain in this movie. Colonel Cochrane was a very hateable person. Oh yeah, when Murphy takes off in the Blue Thunder, like, Cochrane takes his gun and tries to shoot at Murphy, and it's just so funny, just like saying him, "God damn you, Murphy!" Taking the helicopter and just trying to shoot at him. Oh man. Let's see. I know we got some more supporting main characters here. Oh yeah, Paul Roebling Paul Roebling plays is it Iceland or Iceman? Oh, take a look. Oh, it's Iceland. He plays Iceland. He was one of the government officials inviting Frank and Braddock to see the Blue Thunder off. Iceland's the one threatening Braddock when stuff goes wrong, and all these different things that happen, and there's a part where when they don't land with the Blue Thunder, I like when Iceland, that's when he's like, why don't you check your sanity with the dipstick? I like when Braddock says that. Braddock is still walking away, and he's like, oh, I don't need to take this shit from you, Braddock. If there's one scratch on that aircraft, he's done, and so are you. And it's like, man, oh man, the stuffed shirts really get you mad. Like Iceland and the other guy, Fletcher, they really get you mad about how they are, because they think okay, we're in control, we know everything, and oh, this happens, so we're just gonna now be a bunch of shits towards you in the department, so we're just gonna be like that. And also, when the Blue Thunder starts taking off, they start learning the truth about everything that's going on. You see Iceland is figuring stuff out when they don't land right away, and him just going shit like that. He's like shit like that, looking out the window, and it's funny just seeing Paul Roebling give that reaction. And nice little role for Paul Roebling, detestable character. Not much to really say about him. Just like the second guy, David Chenier, Fletcher. Fletcher's the other guy, this other pencil pusher character. He's there with Cochrane when the government officials are going over, what they want to do, the Blue Thunder, and also what they want to do with Murphy. He's there almost right at Cochrane's side at every turn, right at Iceland's side at every turn. They basically go through, the whole crowd control, what they want to do from the air, how this thing could help out Los Angeles, even though the other sinister implications for this helicopter. And, he's the guy who, he's the government agent who's waiting at the KBLA station when Kate gets there with the tape. And, Iceland tries to play nice with her, because, Kate doesn't want to give her the tape. And then, when Al Hewitt comes in and they try to get away with the tape, Fletcher's the one who tries to stop him, and he's like, no, you can't take that tape, that's government property, give me that, and, they're fighting with it, and then, when they still get the tape in hand and everything, that's where Fletcher takes out a gun, and he's like, you goddamn son of a bitch, and, that's when the government agent just comes into the back of that, and he's like, like that, going down. So, a nice little role for, David Shiner, I'm gonna say Shiner, who plays Fletcher. And like we also have Ed. Oh no, they are two different people. We have Ed Berhard, who plays Sergeant Short, who is the sergeant who's presiding over the Blue Thunder, giving the demonstration. He's a very powerful voice in this movie, going over the demonstration when that's happening. He's showing Murphy and Lyman Good how the helicopter works, the whole thing with the helmet, where if you wear the helmet, the gun can track with you and move with you, and it knows your movements. And Ed Berhardt's character as, what was his name? Sergeant what? As Sergeant Short, Sergeant Short. Sergeant Short's thing is just to basically explain the helicopter, to give the helicopter power and purpose. It's a nice little role, nice supporting main character role for him. Doesn't last long, but it's a nice little supporting role that's in there. There's also Jason Bernard, who plays the mayor. Now that's Jason Bernard. Yeah, Jason Bernard, who plays the mayor, and sort of a stately character. The mayor comes in when Murphy takes off with the helicopter, basically there to set up, the dangers, seeing the mayor's face of when stuff goes wrong. He's upset, he's saddened, he starts getting depressed, he starts telling his secretary, whose district was that? Was that Terry's district? Alright, call Terry, get on the phone with him, let him know what he happens, because if we don't call him first, he's gonna call us. It's all just those different things. So, as a mayor, he plays the mayor sort of with some type of authority and, like that, but he's mostly saddened and depressed by what he's seen, because he seems like overall a very kind guy, and he doesn't want to get stuff out of control. And one of the last scenes with the mayor in the movie is when the F-15s, when Braddock says the F-15s just blew up. This is after the chicken shop, but they just blew up part of the business building that the Blue Thunder went by. The mayor went, okay, call off the F-16s, call them back. And Ison's like, can I tell you there's a man with a maniac with a big gun and a helicopter up there wreaking havoc. And then the mayor just turns to Iceland and says, call them back. I'm not putting up with this. We're doing more damage than good. I'm not going to cost Los Angeles citizens their lives. And I like how the mayor, Ed Bernard, shows some authority in that final scene. So, nice little role for Ed Bernard, too. Joe Santos, who plays Montoya, is like a friend of Frank's in here, and I think he was Frank Murphy's partner at one point in this movie, or they're really good friends. And what happens is Montoya works a day shift, and he, rides the helicopters in the day. Doesn't do them at night anymore, Murphy, but he used to do them at night. But he rides them in the day. And, you can see where Murphy and Montoya, they have this friendship. They get along with each other. And it's shown when, like I told you earlier, Murphy gives Montoya this paper. And, Montoya helps him decipher it. The friends of the barrio make trouble. The word I don't understand, Thor, Thor. And, they just sort of work together. And, when Murphy gives Montoya the paper, he's like, hey, could you look at this for me and keep it under your hat? And then Montoya literally takes off his hat and he puts it under his hat. And he's like, hey boss, hey, under the hat. Nice, cool little friendship banter and stuff. So Montoya and Frank, we get an idea that they're really good friends and get along. And Joe Santos plays it good. And I think Joe Santos and Roy Schieder, for the scenes that they have, were really good. And then what's sad is when Montoya and Murphy have that standoff in their helicopters, and you have Santos or Montoya coming up to Murphy. He's like, hey Murphy, you gotta turn around, man. And Murphy's like, my friend, buenos dias. And he's like, hey, no shit, pendejo. You gotta, turn around. And he's like, you gotta turn around or we're gonna open fire. And
And then, you know, like, Murphy's not saying anything. He's just, like, watching ahead. He's sort of grinning. And then, you know, like, Montoya gives one more pleading, saying, he's like, come on, listen to me, will you, Murphy? And then, Murphy still looks ahead, and he's like, and then, you know, Montoya, like, sadly looks at his gunner and says, all right, shoot him down. And then, like, they start shooting at him, and, you know, Murphy's a little shocked, but I think he knew this was going to be an inevitability. So, you know, he's maneuvering, doing what he can to try to get away. You know, Montoya and his guys are after him, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, they're trying to get after him. You know, Murphy's evading them, and then at one point, Murphy gets behind Montoya's helicopter, and I think he clips his back rotor a little bit, or I know he shoots at him, and he, like, takes out his back rotor, not completely, but he cripples the helicopter a little bit to where, you know, Montoya's like, oh shit, all right, here, hold on, we gotta do an emergency landing. And they land, and you actually see Murphy look a little saddened, and he's like, sorry, my friend, you know, because it's like they really respect each other, and it's sad that it had to come to that, but that was a nice little scene. And like I said, you really see this chemistry between Joe Santos and Roy Schieder play out really well. And there is one more, Mario Machado, who actually is a real reporter in real life in this movie, and you know, basically playing himself. He reports on the news scenes, and he shares some of the scenes with I think the guy who plays Al Hewitt, his name is Alf Clausen, and I think Mario Machado shares the screen time with him. And, you know, they sort of just, you know, report the news, report what's going on, and, you know, they talk about everything that's there and all the setups. And, you know, it's nice to see, you know, a real reporter sort of be a supporting main character in this movie, just reporting on the news as a little ridiculous as it seems. And on a little side note, if you guys know, Mario Machado is the reporter who plays Casey Wong in all three of the RoboCop movies. And that's really cool that we, that, you know, I'm like, oh, that's Mario Machado again. That's awesome. That's a cool, nice little thing. So, really fun little thing they did for this movie there. Alright, and that is all the cast and the plot. And, what I could just say is I really think, for final saying, is that, you know, Dan O'Bannon and Dan Jacoby wrote a great script for this movie, a great, enjoyable script. You know, John Badham did great directing. This film's got great visuals, great action, great stuff that's shown. You know, all the helicopters are real. You know, this is actually filmed in Los Angeles. You know, oh yeah. And I don't know if I showed you guys earlier, but I should have showed you when I was talking about it. But there's Daniel Stern as Richard Lymangood, if any of you wanted to know. So yeah, there's Daniel Stern as Lymangood. But you know, it's a very good, fun film. It's action-packed. You know, it does have its moments of violence, if you guys are not into violence, but it does have its moments of violence, and it is worthy of the rated R rating, because you guys heard me cuss at certain times, because there's quite a bit of cussing, quite a bit of swearing, you know, and there's quite a few violent moments in this film. Probably the most violent being Lymangood run over by the villain in the Chevy. I think the guy has a name, but I have no idea. But I know he's played by James Savage. I think the guy's name is James Savage is, I think, the name of the actor. And like, you know, we just have all those types of things going on with that. But it's like, you know, it's a great film, well put together. I mean, you can probably watch this film and say, yes, the film is dated, but it is still a really good film. And I think the film still holds up well today. And it's an enjoyable action romp of a film. And what I'll get to, I'll just tell you a little preview right now. The critics liked this film more than the audience. And this is the first for me since I've done the Rotten Tomato reviews. But the critics liked this film more than the audience. So that disappoints me on the audience side. But, you know, hey. But I will say, I give this movie a 10 out of 10. It's a great movie. It's a fun movie. It's another great role for Roy Scheider. Awesome as Frank Murphy. You know, Roy Scheider is great. He knows how to play cop characters well. You know, French Connection, The 7-Ups, Blue Thunder, Jaws 2. You know, Roy Scheider is a great actor, and I think he deserves credit for all the stuff he's done, big and small, for some of the stuff that didn't become as famous. And sadly, Blue Thunder here, I don't think got a lot of fame to it, but it is a great, great movie. So yeah, that's what I would say, guys, 10 out of 10. And, you know, now we get to the Rotten Tomatoes part of it. I always love giving it to you, guys. I always love giving you the Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, yes, and I forgot, too. This movie is also produced by a Alien alum producer and Gordon Carroll, who's helped produce the Alien series. I know for the recent movies, it was only Walter Hill and David Giler. I don't know if Gordon Carroll has been dead for a while or whatnot, or if he retired from producing, but I noticed he hasn't been in any recent films. But Gordon Carroll, along with Dan O'Bannon being a writer, Gordon Carroll helped produce this film. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Columbia Pictures and oh yeah, Rostar. Which yeah, well, they're both not around, Columbia Pictures and Rostar. So let's see. There was no credit consensus, guys. I was shocked about that. No credit consensus this time whatsoever. So that really shocked me there, and you know, that's really, you know, guys, give me a moment too. I'm going to talk with you, but I'm going to take my headset off. I know I should keep it on the whole time. Man, these are really bugging my ears. So, I know you guys can still hear me, but yeah, I'm going to keep this down for now. But man, oh man, oh God, my ears are hurting, especially, not my right ear so much, but yeah, or no, my left ear not so much, but my right ear's bugging the hell out of me. Let's see. We have, there's a few negative and a couple positive reviews. You know, let's keep it 3 and 3. But I'm gonna start with the negative ones since, you know, I love this movie and I'm probably not gonna like the negative reviews. Let's see. Negative review from Michael Massey, Gone with the Twins, August 31st, 2020, and I quote. Before I give you his quote, I forgot to. I usually give you guys freshness. 78% critics, 78% of the critics liked this movie. 52% of the audience did not. So I can't believe that they said that the audience did not like this movie. I mean, you know, that's probably given by the reviews they get for these, but you know, I've got to say that, you know, when it comes to this, it's like, I don't know why this would be, just so bad. But I mean, hey, you know, we're always going to have certain things that are never going to look good for people. But hey, I see a couple films that I own that are on here that the critics like better than the audience. But hey, you know, to each their own. But we'll get to it right now. So let's see here. Let's see, getting back to it. So let's see, and I quote from, you know, Michael Massey again. There are plenty of conflicts brewing under the surface of military testing, but it takes too long to unearth the most stirring of the bunch. No, it didn't. This is a 109-minute film. So an hour and 49-minute film, and you think it took too long to get to the meat of the film? I don't think it did. It gave a nice building, a nice climax, and then we had a nice fall of the action. Oh, Michael Massey, I think you're being a little too picky there, man, but that's just me. You guys know me, I'm picky about things too, but I think he's being a little too picky there. Let's see here. We have Eddie Harrison from filmauthority.com, and this is from, February 21st of 2021, so just this year from February. And I quote,
in terms of kinetic urban action in the air, it's quite literally a perfect vehicle for Roy Scheider. A standard review, but I think that's a pretty well said thing. So Eddie Harrison, I thank you for that. We have one here too. Let's see here. This is from Dennis Schwartz. Dennis Schwartz movie reviews from June 24th, 2018. And it's a negative. Let's see. The police thriller is an incoherent mess playing out as a government conspiracy-themed techno-thriller obsessed over technology. Wow, you observed this film way too close to the microscope. Yeah. Again, if you think this way, action movie, man, action movie. I will admit this, the government conspiracy wasn't well planned out, I think, and I think that is what this movie suffers, but I think you get the general idea of what's supposed to be going on. And you know what, I didn't mind that they generalized the idea, I really didn't, because I thought it worked well enough. I mean, it's not perfect, but I thought it worked well enough for a movie, and for an action movie, it did what it needed to do, so, my. Jeez Louise. Oy. Let's see, this is from David Nusser, Real Film Reviews, from August 26th, 2020, so just last year. A somewhat erratic thriller that improves steadily as it progresses. Okie dokie. I don't think this film was erratic whatsoever, but okay. But I mean, hey, your positivity is welcome, David Nusser. We have another negative review here from James Plath of Movie Metropolis, and I quote, "As a cop action flick, this isn't bad, but it fits the mold so thoroughly that it feels more familiar than it should." I never got that feeling when I saw this. I thought this was a unique action film because there's not too many action films that deal just around helicopters or certain vehicles of police or anything like that. Like, my God, could you imagine if a film centered around a police car or a tank? I mean, well, I guess for a tank you have, Fury, and you have movies like Kelly's Heroes and sort of things like that. But it's like, you don't get too many of them with helicopters. And I think that's, that was really, really well done. At least I think so. So, I respect your thing, James Plath, but I think that's, I don't think the film fits too many similar molds that we've seen. I mean, if you want films like that, look at the Taken films. Look at the carbon copies of the Taken films, or how many Taken films they made. Look at how sort of, as much as I love the Die Hard movies, look how the Die Hard films sort of follow that path. Especially 5. Like, I respect Live Free or Die Hard a lot more now, more than I do the 5th one. But that's because I think the story was a bit more solid in the 4th one than the 5th one. The fifth one went way too fast and repeated the same molds of what we got before. And then also, look at the carbon copy movies of all the John Wick films now. Peppermint, that film which they advertise on the 3rd John Wick movie, Parabellum. Anna, that one movie with Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron, and all those. Those are a lot of John Wick carbon copy films. And I hate to say this, nobody John Wick carbon copy. Yes, there's probably a bit more comedy in that, but I mean, you can see where carbon copy films have that. I don't think Blue Thunder has a lot of carbon copy guys that sort of exist. Let's see. We also have one from Rob Vox from May 14th of 2013, and it's a positive one. And I quote: "The battle in Blue Thunder is less between Scheider's edgy police pilot Frank Murphy and his ultimate nemesis Malcolm McDowell, as it is between Murphy and his high-tech beast he's asked to pilot." That is... Well, actually, that is actually a thorough assessment. I think that's actually quite a you know, well done review there. I mean, I think it's sort of equal, but I look at the villain thing between Malcolm McDowell and Roy Schieder is that you had to have a catalyst in it. I think it just couldn't have been Roy Schieder in the helicopter versus just government people. I think you had to put like a head government guy in there, and I think that's what Malcolm McDowell represents. And it fit well within the post-traumatic stress that he was able to face his demons in some way and bring down Colonel Cochran. So I can agree to that. It's not terrible, but I can agree to that because it could have used a little bit more structure. Because like I say, they barely don't have that much interaction, but for when they do, it works for both characters in the film. And let's see. I want to read. I'll read one more positive review for you guys. This is from May 19th of 2006 from Forrest Hartman of the Reno Gazette-Journal, and I quote, "I've always had a weakness for Blue Thunder, which seemed terribly exciting during my teen years. More than 2 decades later, I can admit that it's not a great picture, but I still like it." There you go. There you go. Not the greatest action movie, but still a good movie, or you can like the film. There you go. Sometimes it's all I can ask. So, there are the reviews from, you know, Rotten Tomatoes, and you guys have, put it on again now, you guys have my feeling on it. Hopefully I didn't make that sound weird. I mean, I know I can't pause the capture. I wish I could, but I know if I pause it, I have to redo all this again, and sorry about that, but, you know, just, that's how it sort of is. And you know what, guys? I realized I haven't had many interruptions, so I may not have a lot to edit from this piece today. But, you know, what are you guys' thoughts on Blue Thunder? Have any of you ever seen this movie? Would you like to see this movie just from what I talked about? Would you, like to invest, you know? Or if you have seen it, you know, write a comment down below. Tell me what you think of Blue Thunder, and if it's something that you would like to look into and see. You know, just let me know what you guys think. Because, hey, this is a good movie, and it's a great one that should, I think, get more praise, personally. I mean, you know, way more praise than what it gets. But, you know, hey. And before I end here, I'm not gonna, I'll probably say my usual thing, but as you guys know, I'm not gonna flip my lid. But, alright, to the other stuff I talked about before I go off. Well, hold on. I think I need a drink of water for this, guys. Bear with me. I don't care if this gets me on trouble on YouTube, because I'm still gonna say it like it is. I mean, like I said, if it gets bad, maybe I'll go to Rumble, do these things on Rumble, try to get a thing going on Rumble, and you know, the hell with YouTube if this gets removed. But Joe Biden, his foreign policy is terrible. I agree with most people that, yeah, we should not have been in Afghanistan that long. We should have got out of there a long time ago. I mean, we should have got out of there. There are good people in Afghanistan who I think need to be defended, but I also do think they needed to fight for themselves. And I know that the Afghan military did do some fighting. But, you know, I've heard various reports of where, like Mark Levin said yesterday, a lot of the good people in that military were killed. And then I've heard from soldiers that they've had guests on Blaze TV and other media outlets that, you know, that they say that, you know, that these guys, that the main commanders only wanted money, that certain things would not fight until they got money, or, you know, these people didn't know how to fight. Maybe some of them didn't want to. So yes, you know what? It is an absolute mess. But you know what? It's not the Afghanistan military's fault completely. It is not Donald Trump's fault. Pretty much, really, at all. Yes, you could say, why didn't he maybe try to get us out within the years he was there? He was trying to dwindle down our military in certain spots a bit, because he knew we shouldn't have been trying to police the world. So yeah, maybe he didn't do enough of that. I'm not too sure either. Because like people said, we don't know his entire thing
with Afghanistan. We never got Trump's final progression. But Biden, you just went ahead and did this without telling anybody, warning anybody, telling the Afghan troops you were leaving, telling our American people and our allied people there, still on the ground there, that you were leaving. All you guys did was up and leave. And the other thing is, why didn't you take any of our military personal items with us? You left weapons there. You left vehicles there. You left drones there for the Taliban to take over. And you're telling the Taliban to not attack our American embassy? We don't work with terrorists. America should not be dealing with terrorists. We don't cut deals with terrorists. And you know what? I know what you said, Biden, about Trump cutting a deal with terrorists, the Taliban. Oh, sorry. I am getting a little worked up here, guys. I'm sorry. Trump did not make the deal with terrorists. He probably should have said this was probably a deal he made with the Afghanistan government when it was still there, before they all fled the country. He did not make a deal with the fucking Taliban. Because any person, commander-in-chief with the right mind in your head, you don't make deals with the terrorists. You take them out when they do atrocities such as they've been starting to do again. Killing anyone who, supported Americans, trying to find the Americans or any of our allies there and kill them. I heard on one of my news reports this morning that they killed a female Afghanistani there because she wouldn't wear her shawl burqa thing. But they say, oh, they want to give rights to women, but yet you kill someone already because she didn't want to wear the veil. Okay, for everyone saying that this is Trump's fault or this is the Afghanistan military's fault, you could say partly, but we are to blame, and the fault, Biden, of you. We are to blame because of you. Because you have a stupid foreign policy. Whoops. Come on. Stay with me now. Because you have a stupid foreign policy. They're going to need us because America's not going to be there for you. Nice. Thanks, Biden. You fucking old cocksucker. He's an idiot. I mean, he has never cared about us. He does not care about the people of the world. He doesn't even care about the people in his own country. They only care about what they want. And they're becoming, and all these new things with the COVID, with the virus. The remasking here in Arizona by businesses and certain things. I'm upset that I got to remask at work. I hate wearing that piece of fucking paper that doesn't do shit on my face for 8 hours. I hate it. I'm getting anxiety and stuff from it again. Because you know what? I sweat in it. My face gets all hot. It gets all grimy. I don't like the feel of it. You just gotta wear it. I wear it for 8 hours. Don't give me that crap, people, that I wear it for a little bit. The people that come and shop into my work, possibly they're the ones that wear it for a real bit. But maybe these people are also upset because they gotta do what I do. But it's stupid. We followed all their stupid rules, played all their dumb games, and nothing works because they want control, folks. Everything with Afghanistan right now, his fucked up foreign policy, how he's blaming other people, how everyone around the world is going nuts because of how bad the virus is getting. This is control, folks. This is absolute government, world government take over control. Because they want no country to have freedom. No country at all. We will just be drones and slaves to the World Economic Forum, to the banks, to everywhere else. I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted over this because this is not freedom anymore. If this is our foreign policy, how the hell will we expect to go to war with anybody if we ever do have another terrorist attack? Or how do we expect to defend our homes if you're going to have the government take away our guns and our right to defend ourselves. You know? It just boggles my mind. Because if anyone believes this wholeheartedly, and with Biden's failed foreign policy right now, with just letting the terrorists run roughshod, and, you know, us just leaving everything there for them to take, and, like, stick their hands in the cookie jar, and, oh, look, now we have all this American military-grade weaponry, and, you know, we have their drones and their vehicles. And, you know, oh, there's still a lot of Americans here that they left behind. Oh, whoopsie. You know, how are we supposed to look at that? I look at that and go, President Biden, you're a piece of shit. You're an old fucking withered cocksucker who needs to get kicked in the balls. And, you know, you need to be removed. Your whole damn administration. Because you, Kamala Harris, Fauci, everybody else, you have failed us. And you don't care. You fail us, and you know you fail us because it's all part of your grand fucking little plan. At least that's what it seems like to me. More government, more this, more that, less freedom. Oh, we leave our allies behind in Afghanistan. We leave our own people there. We let the Taliban take all our shit. Okay, fine. Freebies, freebies, freebies. You're a piece of shit. You are a rotten son of a bitch. And I don't give a shit about you. You are not my president. I don't support you. You can go fuck off. You know, I don't care what any of my friends who support you say. I don't care. And, you know, I don't care that, you know, like, any of my friends who said, you know, oh, if we all wear the masks, if we have to do the vaccine passport, you know, it's okay, I'm for it. I'm not. Because that's fascism. We shouldn't have to show passports and shit to go into public places. We shouldn't have to do this. I mean, again, going back to what I heard about Australia, you can't go certain feet within other people's homes or have people come certain feet within your home. How the hell do you do that if we live like this? So let's say someone's walking by my house. They can't walk by my house because, oh my god, we're in danger of getting COVID? If it's the only place for them to walk because their house is next to mine or a few blocks down from mine, they can do so. I don't give a shit. What kind of ruling is that? That you have to stay within certain kilometers? Or, oh, guess what? You can't go to the public park or you can't go to this or that because you could be arrested. You can't have your mask off outside and drink because, oh, COVID's got to go crazy. And I haven't heard much on New Zealand, but I've heard enough to where because one person got COVID, they locked down the entire country. One person, New Zealand? One? What the fuck? So, folks, I beg you, I urge you, for any of my listeners who I get new and old, and hey, if I have people leave this channel because of what I'm saying right now, fine. I mean, like I said, this is for fun, and I also get on here to speak my mind. I enjoy the movie reviews I talk about, and like I said, because of what was happening, I wasn't going to be silent about the politics anymore. I'm giving you my take. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm just telling you how I think and how this is, because I think a lot of this shit is fucked up. And like I said, I wasn't going to try to raise my voice, but it's really hard, because this shit over this last week and weekend has been fucking stupid. And, you know, I mean, just please, I urge you, do what you want to do within reason. Don't go out and commit robberies. Don't kill people. But if you want to have fun and go to a restaurant without being masked, cool. You want to walk outside without a mask, cool. You don't want to get vaccinated, you don't have to get vaccinated. If you want to believe in your freedoms and say what you want to say and do what you want to do it. Do it. Because we live in America still. We should be focusing on that and bringing people together the right way instead of just letting people come in through a border, take over, bring COVID into our country, causing chaos, having fucking chaos in his terrible foreign policy movement, having, like, a president who has no fucking spine and an administration that has no spine, who their whole plan is to walk over us because, oh, we've been in power too long. We're the colonizers. We're America. We colonized everybody. Oh, how dare we colonize the world? This was Obama's plan all along. He hated anti-colonial. He was so anti-colonialism. Who cares if some of his people were fucking communistic dickheads and socialist dickheads and all that shit? Obama was so great. Biden's so great. Look at me. Yeah. If you folks believe that, that's what you're like. You're stupid. My brain cell drop in my butt. Don't know. Again, I could be saying shit that upsets you right now, but I don't care because we should not be going down this fucking avenue. So please, I urge you all, do what you want to do within reason. If you want to wear, and I'll say this to the other end of the coin, you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you think it helps you, do it. It is your choice. But for those of you who don't want to wear a mask, don't do it. Like for me, I have to wear a mask because of work. I do not want to lose my job. I will agree to that. I do not want to lose my job. But when my job is done, that mask is coming off. If I have to ride an Uber, Lyft home, and wear the mask, so be it. But when I get home, that mask is off. I do not wear a mask inside my own fucking house. I know some people want us to wear masks inside our home, but fuck that. Right there. I'm never, ever doing that. At all. I will never wear a fucking mask outside. Maybe if I'm at work, maybe. But if I get too hot, that thing's coming down. I will never wear a mask the entire time I'm at a restaurant. Because, oh God, the virus doesn't know how to get you while you're eating. But if they ever have us to where we have to pull down the mask, put up the mask to do that, if they ever implement that in our restaurants, I'm not doing it. That's dumb and stupid. If they ever have us do the vaccine passports, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not doing it. If they ever say that our counties, or if my work says, or if they say I have to double mask, I'm not doing it. I'm not. I'm this close to where I'm putting my foot down on a lot of shit. I may have been lenient going forward, but I have really been running out of patience. So I just tell you, live free as you want to. If you think getting a vaccine is good, cool. If you think certain things are good too, cool. But, if you don't want to do it, it is also your choice. Because on the vaccine, I'll mention this really quick before I end. I'm not getting a third dose. If they ever say a third dose is coming, I'm not doing it. If they say I have to get it to work at my job, if I get fired for it, so be it. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting a third vaccine dose put in my body. Stupid. I'm scared that when I lifted up this arm, a magnet, it was this arm, that a magnet stuck to this arm where I got my shot. I mean, a couple weeks later after I got it, my folks were telling me about that, and I decided to try it. A magnet stuck to it. Why are there metals in a vaccine? Why am I not trusting modern medicine again? You're working on it. You're working on it. Sorry for this rant. Sorry, just a lot to unpack, because I knew I was probably going to rant once we got to this. So, and final saying, fuck Joe Biden. Fuck you. Long and hard. You're going to have karma coming to you, buddy. And I hope nobody comes after you at some point, because I'm not wishing for your death, but I will tell you, one of these days, if something does happen to you when you're in office, or someone does get a hold of you and it goes bad, as terrible as that would be, God has a fucking receipt for you, buddy. God has a fucking receipt for you. And he will come to collect. Because let's say you go through all your terms and you finish your presidency, God is still going to come for you. Because no one is above him. No one is above his laws. And the Constitution was made with God in mind. God and country and state and the people. All four of those things are interconnected, bud. Not just because it doesn't go government
government, government, government. All four of those things that are connected. God, government, the state, people. All four of us should be one. But no, government, 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 government. Fuck you, old man. That's what I want to do to you. If I could. Punch you right in the goddamn face. Because you are an idiot. You're an idiot. Have a good one, guys. Sorry about that. Deuces.